Hi, welcome into this WTOL 11 Weather Impact Extended Weather Coverage Special here on WTOL 11 Plus and live on YouTube. Here's a live look with current road conditions from WTOL 11 Defender that is out Route 2 just east, I believe, of Oregon. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers alongside meteorologist John Birchfield. And John, now that it's after dark, boy, you can see how slippery and how icy and how snow-covered all those roads are.
Yeah, Chris, these travel impacts are going to continue to be felt well into the day on Monday. Give crews plenty of time and space this evening to treat those roads, and please stay home if at all possible. I know, Chris, we've seen all the school cancellations already flooding into the
whole list of them.
Yeah, a lot of them, the snow emergencies as well. And really, it's one of those evenings you'll just want to avoid travel at all costs.
All right, John, we're about, what, 90% through this storm at this point, right?
Yeah, at this point, only a couple more hours of snowfall. So if you're watching this between about 6:30 to 7 p.m., let's say the snow wraps up around 8. And if you're watching this after the fact, well, the snow may have already ended where you live.
Right. But we'll have a whole lot of useful information kind of guiding you forward here on what to expect as our weather impact alert day continues tonight and into Monday for some significant wintry impacts. John Birchfield, I'll catch up with you in a few moments, but look at this. Let's set the stage on where this major winter storm has been unfolding, and it is a whopper of a winter storm. And I'll say this was a massive ice storm across parts of northern Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee. We've got about 1 million customers in the country without power, and now into the Carolinas where they're seeing the ice, heavy snow now through the mid-Atlantic, up into New England, and we're going to be looking at conditions that are going to be very slippery across our area. So do count on that. We're expecting widespread travel impacts due to the icy conditions. So let's look at what we have on Doppler radar. We have radar that is showing the end to some snow impacts, especially west of I-75. But even with that, we've got some very slippery conditions. East of I-75, still some snowy impacts out there toward Norwalk and Sandusky, a little banding of that snow. And meteorologist John Birchfield in a little bit is going to talk more about that specifically. And down toward Wyandotte into Crawford County, got some areas of some steadier snow that are still continuing. Tiffin, a little bit of light snow. That too will be wrapping up though shortly as we get closer to the end of the snow. Steadiest of the snow is now ending in the Toledo Metro, western Lucas County. You're right around Swanton where we're seeing the end of that snow. It's just tapering off to a few snowflakes and a few light snow showers is what we're looking at. So we are going to be expecting this snow across the Toledo Metro to be ending. I will update your snow emergency map here. We've got the latest county to be added. Now Williams County added to the level 3 snow emergency. Defiance County, also Hancock, Wyandotte, Seneca, Sandusky, Ottawa, and over toward Erie and Huron County. All these counties are under level 3 snow emergency, which essentially means roads are closed unless you are an emergency personnel or an essential person that needs to be out there on the roadway. So keep that in mind. It does put that restriction in there that you are not allowed to be on the roads should you be caught or you could be cited in particular instances. We are looking at that alert day that's going to continue into Monday and through Tuesday morning, and perhaps could be extended well beyond this with the extreme cold that's going to be out there for quite some time. So we will be diving deeper into the details of that, but we're getting very close to the end of some of that snow that is now making its way west from the western edge of our viewing area. It will be a little longer before it clears east of I-75, but as John said, say by about 8 p.m., most areas will be in the clear from that snow. Still do have winter storm warnings. Perhaps these will be allowed to expire a little bit earlier. They were actually extended for our counties east of I-75. That until 7 a.m., and many of our area school districts will be highlighting that. A lot of them choosing to close. It was numbering near 70 last we checked as we saw the school cancellations coming in. Show a few areas, Sandusky, Baycam, where that snow is still continuing, and this is a good little marker of how much of a breeze we have. I'm not going to call it the worst breeze that we've had, but a little blowing and drifting of that snow, winds about 15 to 20 miles per hour. Because this is a light, fluffy snow, it's a little bit more apt to blow around, creating some of that blowing and drifting. So keep that in mind. The Put-in-Bay Harbor Cam, this is an area that's just really open due to the nature of it being surrounded by water or frozen ice at this point. Some of that wind is whipping some of that snow. And how about the Lakeside Cam? It's a northeast wind right now. You can even see some of those snow drifts coming off of Lake Erie that are beginning to mound up there out there toward Lakeside, where that heavy snow has been something to persist. Not going to see much here with the Catawba Island cam just due to the fact that it is dark, but just sort of to wrap it up from Marblehead, Lakeside, back to downtown Toledo. Snow, heavy snow has blanketed all of northwest Ohio. And now looking at downtown Toledo, we expect that it's still going to be seeing that light snow. Now, I'm going to say nearly certain we're going to have most of our school districts that will close. Some of them still choosing a 2-hour delay. They're going to wait and see how it looks in the morning. But our school chance, generally speaking, is going to be a nearly certain aspect. In fact, many of those districts have already kind of phoned that in. Now, here's what we're looking at with the level snow emergencies. Level 1, we're well past that. Most of our counties, level 2 or 3. And typically what happens, you should really only be out there if necessary when it's a level 2 snow emergency. If it's level 3, there's a little more restrictions to that. Roadways are technically closed to non-emergency personnel. And at that point, all employees, if you're thinking about what do I do for work tomorrow, you should contact your employer to see whether you should report or not. And be honest, most employers do expect you to be at your job, even in these certain circumstances. So keep that in mind. You're going to have to kind of weigh the impacts of that. So what are we going to be looking at? Let's get over to meteorologist John Birchfield to highlight some of the impacts, because John, this was a winter storm. It delivered on 6, 8, 10 inches, perhaps even more. We're going to be calculating those totals. We're close to the finish line as far as falling snow, though. So what should we expect?
Yeah, close to the finish line as far as the snow itself. But Chris, the impacts, those are just going to continue to be felt. And I think out in the country, especially with some blowing and drifting, some of those drifts may pile well higher than the actual accumulation total. So snow is going to be winding down around 8 o'clock p.m. Could last till about 9 near the lake shore, but give it a few more hours and that snow will be winding down. And thankfully, that will give crews some dry hours tonight to plow and clear off the roads. Now, there are still going to be significant travel impacts, and we would expect that the vast majority of schools opt for cancellations on Monday. Now, Doppler radar, you will notice not quite as much blue, at least west of I-75, as some drier air begins to work in on the backside of this system, and that center of low pressure races off towards New England. We are still seeing some steadier bands of snow that are ongoing to the southeast of the Maumee River. I do want to highlight a few of these areas that are getting a heavier band of snow. Now, that includes locations like Erie and Huron counties down into Crawford County with that darker shade of blue, indicative of the last real burst of heavy snow. Other than that, the snow is going to be lightening up behind that snow band. Now, visibility is still around a mile, but you will notice out towards Fremont and Tiffin, the visibility is dropped below a mile, and that is usually a sign that there is still some moderate snow that is ongoing. Out towards Sandusky and Norwalk, we could see the visibility briefly drop. So if you must be out this evening, give yourself plenty of time and space and use caution. So what about the winds? The gusts have actually ramped up a little bit towards Oak Harbor, where there is a level 3 snow emergency, especially in those rural areas. A little bit of blowing and drifting is possible. Now, you'll notice the wind is coming in out of the due north right now, and winds are going to be shifting on the backside of this system. Earlier in the day, we had a northeast wind off the lake. Winds are coming in out of the north now, and then wrapping in on the backside of that low. Winds are going to be shifting to the west tomorrow. Gusts of about 23 miles an hour in Bowling Green, 24 in Findlay, 22 in Toledo. Not a ton of wind, but with how fine and powdery this snow is, it really doesn't take a ton to blow it around. Perhaps when you were shoveling today, you noticed, hey, this is pretty lightweight snow, at least compared to the dense, heavy stuff. This is relatively powdery, although with these wind gusts, there could be some blowing and drifting, especially in rural areas. Check out this nor'easter that is unfolding as we see low pressure raced off towards New England, and some of those locations, metropolitan areas from Boston down towards New York and Washington, D.C., are going to feel the next impacts of this storm system. Now, we still do have an active winter storm warning. That's going to continue until 7 o'clock a.m. on tomorrow morning. So keep in mind, still active weather alerts with the exception of Hillsdale and Lenawee counties that are under a winter weather advisory, we still do have that warning at play. And frankly, even after the warning expires, I do expect lingering residual travel impacts that'll slow you down as we head into the day on Monday. A number of area school closures already. Those bright red colors indicate closings. Yellow indicates 2-hour delay. And we expect almost every single school district to be closed tomorrow. Now check out just how widespread this storm remains. Keep in mind, it originated back towards Texas and New Mexico, and now we are seeing those winter storm warnings from parts of Illinois and Indiana all the way up towards Maine and Massachusetts as this storm takes fire at New England. That'll be next in the line of the path. So road conditions for the remainder of this evening. Red shows you poor travel conditions that are expected. Snow's still coming down through about 8 o'clock. Even when the snow ends late this evening, road conditions still snow covered and poor. And then as we head towards mid to late morning, you're going to notice some improvements in roadways, say by 10 o'clock a.m., although still exercise caution as you're out and about tomorrow, as even for the evening commute, there could still be some slippery spots. Hazardous roads for the remainder of the evening, a red light for travel, so please use caution and stay home if possible. Major travel delays are expected into the morning commute, and there are still going to be some slippery spots that'll be lingering into the evening, so 5 o'clock p.m. still could be encountering some icy and snowy travel, especially on those rural roads and the roads less traveled, the ones that crews might not have time to get out to as imminently, such as your neighborhood street that may still have snow on it for another 24 to 48 hours. So when is the snow going to be winding down? Between 7 to 8 o'clock p.m., you're going to notice that snow already tapering off. Now, if you're watching this live stream after the fact, perhaps the snow has already ended where you live. By about 9 to 10 p.m., snow is going to be moving up towards Pennsylvania and New York. And on the back side of this system, just going to be a plain old cold night. Temperatures are going to be incredibly cold. So if you put down salt on your sidewalk or driveway, it's not going to work maybe as effectively as if the temperature was, say, 30 degrees. Overnight tonight, some of those East Coast cities and states going to get clobbered with snowfall. Heavy accumulations expected up towards coastal and interior New England. Additional snowfall. Well, the latest computer model data really doesn't show a ton. I think that heavier snow band out towards the lakeshore could produce up to 1 more inch of snow. Although for the Toledo Metro, any additional snow is likely only to amount to less than 1/4 of an inch. So that'll bring our storm totals between about 6 to 10 inches for most folks. And those isolated 8 to 12 inch readings, those are going to be the most likely far south and east of Toledo. So overall, not a ton more snow on top of what we've already gotten. Now, our weather impact alert days not done just yet. Monday, there's going to be some significant travel delays. Tuesday, we still do have that morning alert in effect. It's going to be the cold that is really noteworthy on Tuesday, and southwest winds are going to be ramping up on Tuesday, and that'll create wind chills between -10 to -20. Many area schools may opt for closures due to the dangerous wind chill factor. Now, Wednesday and Thursday, there's a chance for a couple passing snow flurries as another front moves on through. And boy, those temperatures turning frigid once again. We've got highs that are only going to be in the lower teens as we head towards the middle to latter half of the week. So, Chris, earlier you said that we're nearing the finish line of this storm system. We are seeing that snow wind down, but I think those impacts are going to be lasting quite a while longer, possibly into Monday and Tuesday as well.
You know, John, you're exactly right. And, you know, if our crew behind the scenes can get the WTOL 11 Defender pictures back up for us, if we do have those, you and I could take a look at those pictures because you said, yeah, these conditions aren't going to be going anywhere anytime soon. Look at that. Looks to be some of those road crews, the plow crews. They're trying to keep the sidewalks clear. Yeah, that's one of the private plow companies or maybe an emergency response vehicle.
And it's been so hard to keep up with this snowfall today. You know, a lot of viewers on social media said, well, I went out and shoveled, and then I had to shovel again in a few hours, and then again. It just seems like you're kind of redoing your work, and that's the same case with plowing off those roads. You know, when we have 12 to 18 hours of snowfall, even if you're out plowing around midday, there's likely to be additional accumulations. And I think the one thing we do have going for us, Chris, as far as the road conditions, well, if the snow ends by 8 p.m., we've got a solid 12-hour window before the morning commute.
For sure.
So we should see some improvement, although obviously you don't want to chance it with those school buses, and I think that's why we're seeing so many closings. But for those who do have to go into work tomorrow, well, you might not be off the hook, as we do have hopefully some slightly better conditions for those commuting into work.
Well, that's the plan, hopefully, on that one. John, though, a lot of our counties that are under level 2 or level 3 snow emergency, some of them say they're going to take till tomorrow morning before they actually even reassess that. So we'll see a cancellation or an expiration of some of our winter storm warnings. But you can see right here, John, what we're looking at. We've got several counties. Defiance and Williams County are now under a level 3 snow emergency. That is added to the list of Hancock, Wyandotte, Seneca, Sandusky, Ottawa, and also over toward Erie and Huron County, which means essentially roadways are closed except for non-essential personnel and emergency response crews. John, I've loved, kind of connecting with people on a little bit of a different level as well. Great way to connect right here is the free WTOL 11 weather app. If you want to scan that as we're kind of going through this. We love that you're watching here on YouTube. We love that you're here on WTOL 11 Plus, because this is where you get the deep stuff, the extended coverage, and what we're going to continue to deliver on. We'll have another update tonight live at 10:30 p.m. as we dive more likely deeper into the ongoing snow emergencies, but also the cold that's going to follow, because by about 10 o'clock tonight, we expect all areas are going to be dry. So do me a favor, go ahead and scan that free WTOL 11 weather app, and make sure you set a reminder on your phone. 10:30 tonight's when we're going to be checking back in with another live update on WTOL 11 Plus and on YouTube. So keep that in mind. Winter storm warnings for west of I-75 should be expired by then. We're going to see how long they hold on to east of I-75. They're scheduled to expire 7 a.m. on Monday. Could be dropped a little bit earlier than that. We are in the teens across the area. So the snow, the ice, the cold, it is all sticking around, and it is going to be a bitterly cold day as we go into our Monday. Storm system is actually going to be departing and leaving the area, moving off to the east. So we will see an end to the accumulating snow. Nothing more than a few flurries. In fact, we're likely done with the accumulating snow now in the Toledo metro. Still some areas east of Toledo. We'll say at this point, half an inch to an inch of snow that may be possible. Still do have that snow, a little steadier though down toward Norwalk. So along and east of 250, those are a few areas that still may see some of the steadier snow batches, especially Norwalk, and there's 250 just south and east of Norwalk. That's out toward Huron and Vermilion. Some areas that still do have some of those heavier bands of snow. Wyandotte County, that is one of our counties under a level 3 snow emergency. The snow is beginning to taper off, and here it is in the Toledo metro. If you've been watching all day and that snow has just been a steady, graceful snow for much of the day that has amounted to several inches of an accumulation. John summed it up here. Travel issues going to be out there as we get into Monday. We're going to be extremely cold across the area, and we'll wrap it up here with a look at your 10-day forecast, because it's going to stay bitterly cold as we go through the entire week ahead, and overnight lows could be well below zero for several of the mornings, and highs, they're not going to get any warmer. 11 degrees Wednesday, 12 Thursday, 11 Friday, and we may be a couple degrees below zero as we go through the end of the work week and into the weekend. May take us, John, till the end of the weekend or early next week to actually get back into the 20s. Few final thoughts, John, before we wrap things up here.
27 degrees has never sounded so warm.
I can't wait to the first person that pulls shorts and T-shirts out when we finally get that.
It's going to take some patience, but I know, as you pointed out, one thing that really stuck with me earlier is, this is our biggest winter storm since early 2022. So there's some kids who went out sledding today who have never experienced a snowstorm of this caliber in their entire lives, and this could be one of those that really, ignites their passion in meteorology, or maybe it's just one that they remember as a really, really fun day playing in the snow.
And I love that too, John, because it's been 4 years since we've had what we would call a significant winter storm or a big winter storm. Adults, we've been through these before. We kind of had to remember what they were like, of course. But for some younger kids, some of the younger puppies as well, we've gotten lots of those photos of dogs enjoying some time out in the snow as well. As we wrap things up, though, if we have one final look at WTOL 11 Defender, just to give you kind of an idea of what roads are looking like across the area. Stay put tonight. We don't want you out on the roads if you don't have to be. And of course, we'll be covering this tonight on WTOL 11 at 11 and also on WTOL 11 Plus. And there it is. Road conditions at best, we're going to say they are going to be very hazardous for tonight. So go ahead and kind of stay put. We appreciate you watching our coverage here on WTOL 11 Plus and on YouTube. YouTube. We're going to be back at 10:30 tonight, and our coverage will continue again live on WTOL 11 at 11. Till then, stay safe and have a great Sunday evening.